and welcome again to a new chapter of Spiritism 101. I'm Luis Almeida, and we are here with Vanessa Saloni. Today we are going to discuss a very interesting topic of Spiritism called Spiritist hierarchy. We have seen in previous chapters and in previous lessons of Spiritism 101 that the world and the universe is composed by matter in the state that we see, all the matter that is around us, but also by matter in a state that we don't usually see and don't usually sense, which is the matter in the spiritual world. Also, when we discarnate, we assume our spiritual body, our perispirit, and we go to live in the spiritual world. Well, the question that now arises is this. When we arrive in the spiritual world, so is there some sort of organization there? Is there some sort of rules and some are in command and others obey? In other words, is there some sort of hierarchy over there? So to discuss about that, first we bring Vanessa. Vanessa, how can we evolve in the spiritual world? How can we move from lower levels to superior levels? Are we always stuck on the same place?
These are very interesting questions, Luis. And what is very interesting in Spiritism is that actually it gives us an idea that we can evolve and progress, which is in many ways very revolutionary because many other philosophies do not believe in this possibility. They either believe that we are created in such a way and we cannot change, or they believe that there is no purpose at all to justify progression. And this is how Allan Kardec started this part of the chapter 5, in which he states that we spirits progress. Because once he asked the spirits about the way we were created, he asked if we were created good or bad. And the spirits said that actually we were created in simplicity and unawareness or ignorance, meaning that we have ourselves open from the beginning of our creation, to learning experiences. So actually we were never created good or bad. We were created simple and unaware of experiences in general. And then later on, Kardec wants to understand a little bit further when he asks this very question that Luis asked us too. Can we then move from these levels of simplicity, of unawareness, to higher levels? And then the Spirit said, yes, we do. And this is very appropriate to read a part of their answer to Kardec when they said, it may take a long time to reach perfection, but all eventually progress. And this is very fulfilling for all of us because it brings a different meaning in our lives. Because it tells us that we are programmed to progress, to evolve. We're never going to be stuck where we are now. We are programmed to progress. And then later on, Kardec is curious to understand if there is any possibility that we regress. And this is question 118, when Kardec asked this very question, can spirits regress? And this is very important to us because we need to know whether or not sometimes we have these feelings in our lives. I've never got acquainted with this side of myself. I thought I overcame that kind of addiction or that kind of misbehavior. And then we have this feeling that we regressed. Do we actually regress? And the Spirit said, no. As we spirits advance, we understand the things that hinder our progress. When a spirit finishes a trial, it learns a lesson it will never forget. It may remain the same place for a while, but it never regresses. This is very important. So when we get these feelings, oh my gosh, I think I didn't overcome this problem in my life, or this addiction, or this kind of misbehavior, then we conclude on the Spiritist view that we didn't regress, that we actually need to work a little bit more on that side of our lives to make sure that we actually left that lower rank and stepped up in the progression of our lives. So this is basically the general idea that Spiritism gives us. A new perspective in which we were created simple and ignorant. We're never programmed to be bad, but we are unaware of so many things, and will be for so long. But it depends, as the Spirit say, it depends on the pace that we put on our progression. So it's on us to evolve as fast or not. It depends on our will. So now we want to understand a little bit more, Luis, on this hierarchy. If we know that we progress, is there actually an order of the spirits, and what is that, and how does Spiritism sees this possible order of spirits?
Well, if we progress, naturally, some will have advanced more and others will have advanced less. This because of time, a number of experience that we call reincarnation, opportunities missed, or opportunities that were in fact used for good purpose. So naturally, as we progress, there is an hierarchy. Some are more advanced than us, and some are behind us. They are less advanced. What does it mean to be more advanced or less advanced? What we mean by advancement here is moral and intellectual advancement. So morality in the sense of doing good, practicing good actions and good thoughts, and not practicing bad actions and bad thoughts. And what we mean by intellectual advancement is not how we see education in our diplomas or courses or accomplishments, but in fact by the whole experience of the spirit in multiple reincarnations. As we will see in next chapters of Spiritism 101, a spirit that is very much intellectual advanced might come in one reincarnation with his or her intellectual part blocked because of certain purpose that we will explore in the future. So here we are talking about our intellectual baggage and our moral baggage of the spirit. So this is not some sort of privilege that God favors one over others. God is perfect justice, so there are no privilege. So said that, how is this hierarchy, this order of spirits assembled? It's assembled by the moral and intellectual advancement of each spirit. So in the spirit world, each spirit will receive duties, obligations, let me say like that, jobs, or responsibilities, a better word, according to his or her level. There is no one that's more important than other. Only the kind of responsibility that one can manage is according to the moral and intellectual level of each one. So, according to this, how can we make a general classification of the order of spirits? Kardec mentions three orders. Third, second, and first order. These orders are subdivided on many different classes, on many different subdivisions. We will not explore all subdivisions. I invite you, who is listening to Spiritism 101, to read chapter 5 of the Spirit's book, where there is a description of each individual classes with their main characteristics. While doing that, it's very important that we remember that we are also spirits. That when we talk about inferior spirits or superior spirits, let's try to remember that we are also spirits. So in which order do I see myself? Which characteristics of this order, or of that order, of this class or of that class do I see myself? So what have I already accomplished? And without guilty or feeling sorry, but with good thoughts and goodwill towards improvement, what should I do? What should I work inside myself to improve and achieve a higher order, a higher level? Well, once we read this chapter, we see that there are three main orders: first order, second order, and third order. Third order is the most inferior one. These are spirits that are unaware. They know, they have an intuition that God exists, but they do not understand or comprehend Him. And they are totally prone towards wrongdoing, towards mistakes, towards evil. On the second order, there are those that are already making good and love as the main purposes of their life. They are not perfect, but they are trying to establish new orders inside themselves, new feelings on their lives, so that they can build good and peace and good feelings around them. So the empire of matter, as we can say, the passions that attract human beings towards material things are decreased on the second order. On the third order, those are the pure spirits, the angels and the archangels, the ones that we see already pure, totally disengaged from material objectives, and living towards this pure idea, understanding God, and living towards His pure idea of love and compassion. So based on this third, second, and first order, there are several different subclasses inside it. Also, we need to understand that this is a somewhat arbitrary scheme, that some classes will mingle towards others, especially when one is moving from one to the other. But I invite all of you to read this chapter number 5 of Spirit's book, so that we can progress. We should progress also to build a better life around us. Well, if we have seen that there is a third class, material spirits, wrongdoing spirits, a second class, those that already have more good than evil and are progressing towards pure goodness, and now we have first class, pure spirit, what else can we see about them, Vanessa?
Louis, one important idea in Spiritism is to know that in each class we are talking about one of the main characteristics being the influence of matter, or the predomination of matter over spirit, or vice versa. So in the first class, which is the pure spirits, they have no influence of matter on themselves, spirits, at all. Compared to the second class of spirits, which are the good spirits, in which their spirit predominates over matter, but there is still somewhat an influence of matter onto their spirits. And of course, the third class, which is the imperfect spirits, matter predominates over spirit, as Kardec mentions. So back again to our ideal, which is to reach the pure spirits. To reach that level means that we're going to achieve perfection. Perfection, we cannot acquire the sense of perfection, but it means, as Kardec stated, a combination of knowledge through intellectual evolution and knowledge through moral evolution. So we work to achieve perfection. We need to work at two sides, moral and intellectual. There is no other way. But we need to understand that when we talk about pure spirits, we're talking about spirits who are very active. The more we get to know of life itself, we're more active. So as Kardec explains, and later on we find in Chico Xavier's book, In the Path Towards Light by Emmanuel, we understand that pure spirits are in charge of great deals in life. For example, in the construction of new planets and in the government of them as well. So they could also be called, as Kardec mentioned, angels, archangels. It doesn't matter the name, but just for our reference, pure spirits in Spiritism could be referred as angels and archangels. But it's important to note that this is our destination. This is our ultimate goal, to achieve that kind of state. One day, we'll be what Jesus told us, because he said what he did, we could do and much more. Why? Because of the principle of the progression of spirits. That we are capable, and we have all the seeds, the divine seeds in us, to reach the level of perfection. As we get to know more and we advance in our morality and intellectuality. For sure, Jesus is one of the examples of what it is to be a pure spirit. He's certainly the guide and model of perfection that human beings on earth have ever seen. But most of all, we want to clarify that in Spiritism, we don't believe, and there is no sense to believe, that there is a being that was created bad. The ones we and many cultures can name demons, devils. There is no such a being. We understand that those beings are imperfect spirits, are spirits that are very unaware of the reality of life, and they, for that reason, suffer and make others suffer as well. So in Spiritism, we don't understand that there are no demons or devils. There are imperfect, suffering spirits. This is good, because we are imperfect as well. And sometimes we make other people suffer with our own imperfections, because sometimes they expect higher on us, and we don't fulfill it because we're still unaware of other people's needs and expectations. So the big question now for us is, how can we achieve this perfection? We understand that this is the way life goes. We progress, we never regress. But what is the methodology for this progression? How did God actually standardize a method for all of us to achieve this perfection? And this is what we're gonna invite you now to see next week, which is chapter 6 of the Spirit's book, part 2, in which we'll study the method that God created so we could progress from one rank to another and achieve the beautiful destination of perfection and all that it gives us. So you're welcome to come back next week and join Luis Almeida and myself, Vanessa Anceloni, in one more Spiritism 101 when we're going to study about incarnation. Thank you so much. Thank you, Luis.
Thank you. Thank you.